Hi everybody, this is Dan Stolebarger, Holy Ground Explorations. It's time for this week's KFIR Middle East Update. First things first, make sure you go to our website, holygroundexplorations.com, and access the PDF PowerPoint that accompanies this YouTube presentation. That's much more extensive. It has the entire articles as well as the pictures that go along with it. I'm just going to touch on some subjects. If you're serious about wanting to know what's going on, you need to get that PowerPoint. All right? Couple trips that we have coming up in February. We're doing a hiking trip. We'll be hiking Masada and Gedi and Gamla, but the big deal is that we're going to hike the Jesus Trail, which is from Nazareth to Capernaum. It's about a 3.5-day hike. Hey, we're not even putting this on our website. It's limited. If you're interested, you need to contact me. My email is dan@hgexplorations.com. And I'll send you a brochure with all the information that you'll need. Again, that's February 16th through the 26th. And then following that is our Revealing Israel tour. And that's kind of perfect for the first timer. That's February 28th through March 9th. Sharon and I have been to Israel now over probably close to 35 times. And we love having the opportunity to introduce our friends to the land of Israel. So again, both the Israel of the Bible as well as the Israel today. So that's it for advertisements. What's inside today? We're going to talk about the Island of Peace. For all of you that have been to Israel and you've made that trip from the Galilee, from the Kinneret, Tiberias, down or on your way up to Jerusalem, traveling the border between Jordan and Israel, you know the story about the Island of Peace. Bottom line is that Jordan wants it back, and they want some land for agricultural purposes. If you remember, the story is infamous because 7 Israeli girls were gunned down by a Jordanian soldier. King Hussein actually went and set Shiva with the victims' parents of all of this. The guy that did it, his only regret, he said, was that his gun jammed and he couldn't kill more. It just blew Hussein away, and he couldn't understand how one of his soldiers would do something about something like this. And then recently, in 2017, this guy, Ahmad Dakmish, was released from prison. He served 20 years, and he was welcomed back, kind of a hero's welcome. It's just crazy, but there's an uproar that's going on in Jordan these days. Tensions between Israel and the Jordanians have mounted over the last few months because of the contested status of Jerusalem, as well as holy sites that the Middle East peace talks seem to have stalled. And remember, King Hussein is no longer, the Hashemite kingdom is just a minority. And so the king's got to make decisions based upon politics, and that seems to be what's going on at this time. But it is a major issue. Another border of Israel, besides we got the issue with Lebanon, right, and Hezbollah, and then of course we've got the Golan and Syria, and of course the Iranians and the Russians, and then we've got what? We've got Gaza and Hamas, and we used to think, well, the Jordanian border is pretty peaceful, and now all of a sudden that seems to be up in the air. So let's keep our eyes on that. While I was mentioning Hezbollah, you'll see a map here. Again, for those of you that have been to Israel with us, you know that we do a Jeep tour on the Syrian border, and we leave from Miriam Golan, and we go right up to the border fence. It's an amazing experience, very eye-opening. Well, the reality is right across that fence in the Druze village of Kedar, Hezbollah is working and establishing a military infrastructure. Again, as we know, the Golan's now become a pretty hot issue. Syria obviously wants it back, and according to the IDF, the assessments are that this group, Hezbollah, intends to do 3 stages. It's what they're known for. They'll establish a presence in the village, they'll gather intelligence, they'll begin transferring weapons, and then eventually they'll carry out terrorist attacks. And so let's keep our eyes on the Golan. Just recently, just last night, there was another rocket that was launched. Iron Dome took it down from Gaza. There's an article here that just simply says, "Is the Gaza war coming?" I'll let you read that on your own. A big concern for Israelis, again, is this whole issue now of the so-called Trump peace plan. Israel is reportedly concerned that the Trump administration is considering recognizing Jerusalem as the Palestinian capital. East Jerusalem is the Palestinian capital. This might, in their mind, draw Abbas back to the negotiation table. The problem with in my opinion, the problem with what I've heard about the Trump peace plan is, unfortunately, they think it's a real estate issue. It ain't no real estate issue. Again, it's not the size of Israel that's the problem. It's the existence of Israel. So no amount of land or negotiating is going to change that. So again, with all of this sort of surfacing, Naftali Bennett, the Minister of Education, his comments, there won't be a joint capital in Jerusalem even in 1,000 years. And then he said, as long as we're in the Israeli government, we'll never agree to a divided Jerusalem or to a shared capital. You know, one of the comments that you'll read about in the headlines is that Donald Trump recently made the statement, "I can be as tough with Bibi as I have been with the Palestinians." And that's what's caused an alarm, in a sense. Well, again, the purpose of this YouTube is just to give you kind of a taste of what you'll find in the PowerPoint. I always want to try to keep this under 10 minutes, so a couple more things that I want to talk about. We reported last week about the terrorist that killed 2 people in execution style, and he's still on the loose, and there's an article about that. Again, the IDF is arresting people that they believe have helped this terrorist avoid the law enforcement, and so you can read about that. And then, you know, when we talk about this, I was going to say stupidity, maybe I should say that. When we talk about the stupidity of thinking that there can actually be some sort of peace process negotiated, a handshake, you know, the security of Israel, the demilitarization of the West Bank and all of that, you know, and then something like this pops up. Preacher on an official PA TV station is teaching that Hitler was one of a series of people that Allah has sent to punish the Jews because of their evil behavior. He taught this last Friday in a sermon, and then he goes on to say, but in spite of all the punishments that the Jews have received, they have not learned from the events of history, and they continue their evil ways. Jews are planning and systematically working to incite wars and strife through the entire world. If there's a problem, you know what, blame the Jews. And then for your enjoyment, laughter. I hope I'll end on a light note. One of the more flavorful accusations against Israel recently by the Palestinian Authority is that Israel has stolen the falafel and hummus. The theft, according to official PATV, is part of the, quote, brutal attack against the entire Palestinian heritage. And so, just so you know, the falafels and the hummus, they're not Israeli. They're Palestinian. Go figure. Okay, then we have our quotables, and we end with, never forget, Genesis 12. I'll bless those that bless you. I'll curse those that curse you. We're reminded also of Joel chapter 3 about God judging the nations that would seek to divide his land, gathering them in the valley of Jehoshaphat. America, we cannot be part of any sort of treaty that will divide the land. God bless you. Shalom. This is Dan, Holy Ground. Until next week.